And for more on what's next, here's Fox 4's Stephen Dial with constitutional law attorney David Coale.
There are going to be some hurt feelings lingering from this, and Mr. Paxton's going to come back to the office and, be sort of renewed by this and be able to pursue his agenda of what he wants to get done. So there's going to be some fallout from this to get sorted out, no question about it.
The Lieutenant Governor, Dan Patrick, he mentioned making a change to the Constitution, making some changes as far as lawmakers for whenever an impeachment happens again. That's going to be an uphill climb, one, because it will have to pass the House and Senate, and House members may be a little scorned from his comments.
I mean, the fact is that we don't have one but every 50 years or so, thank goodness, having now gone through this. There are a number of lessons learned that I think could contribute to a smoother proceeding the next go around. Mr. Patrick identifies this quirk in our Constitution where someone's removed from office while a proceeding goes forward. There were some obvious issues that were difficult to handle during this proceeding about assertion of the Fifth Amendment and that kind of thing. But the problem with amending the Constitution to address things like that is it's like the Maginot Line, you're addressing the last battle. Whatever the issue is going to be in another 50 years is probably going to involve a whole other set of facts. And we're probably as well off with a very general, broad set of guidelines there.
How much political pressure went into these decisions by these senators, possibly?
One thing we've learned from all the impeachments we've had around the country in the last few years is because they're tied to political bodies, they end up breaking on political lines. We saw this in the impeachments of Mr. Trump, and we saw it here again. They're political. They're in a body of government that by its nature is supposed to be political, listen to voters, receive donations from voters, reach consensus about laws. And so it really isn't surprising when at the end of the day, they act politically. That happened at the national level. It happened here as well. I think there was some reason to think going into this that there might be some feeling in the air in Austin to not be along party lines on this. There was a substantial majority of the entire Senate that voted to allow the trial to proceed. Obviously, Republicans were involved in the House and generating the articles of impeachment. But at the end of the day, when it came time to vote, people fell back on what they know and went with party lines. And that's consistent with the broader pattern that we've seen in these other impeachments around in the country in the last several years.
Just a historical standpoint, I mean, regardless of what the outcome was, it's another historic moment in Texas. And you mentioned there are some things to learn from it. But in your view, do you think amending the Constitution is the solution in terms of a structure of how to move forward in the future?
I don't think that the Constitution itself is the place to make revisions for the next crisis in another 50 years. I think people can write articles and summarize lessons learned. I think they can write best practices and things to avoid and things not to do. That'll all go on the shelf. And when someone is called upon, some staffer in 50 years from now to look back at the record, they'll do like we did for this session and look back at what happened in the 1970s and try to learn from that. And so we can create a big, fulsome record and leave some thoughts behind while they're fresh. But the constitutional framework is done with broad outlines, and it's done that way for good reason. In the 1970s, nobody could have seen this coming. In another 50 years, we have no idea what may be coming. We can leave the best record that we can behind for them, but we can't try to fight their battles for them when we don't even know what those battles are going to be.